this one came out. It came out by way of the Daily Mail from the UK. It was shared around Twitter, and the New York Post picked up on it, and then a few other outlets also. But the headline reads: "The Biden administration admits flying 320,000 migrants secretly into the U.S. in order to reduce the number of crossings at the border." And the implications is just because the border has national security vulnerabilities. So without covering the whole thing, but the opening, Joe Biden's administration has admitted transporting migrants on secret flights into the U.S., and lawyers for its immigration agencies claim revealing the locations could create national security vulnerabilities. Customs and Border Protection has refused to disclose information about a program last year, secretly arranging flights for thousands of undocumented immigrants from foreign airports directly to U.S. cities. So this is coming by way of the official administration acknowledging this. There were reports of this last year because people were aware that it was happening, and when everything we're talking about, why does this matter to the entrepreneur?
Right.
Well, the leader of your nation is doing things that directly impact you negatively.
You can't hire these people legally.
Right.
But we can fly them into our country and put them in your communities.
And we're paying for it.
Yeah, where they're
quote unquote paying for it.
Yeah, I mean through taxes, through job loss, through crime, through you name it. And so it's a real problem and something that you should be up in arms about. Just putting your head in the sand and pretending like it's not happening might be the worst move that you could make as an entrepreneur, because eventually it will impact you in some way, some shape, some form.
Yeah, absolutely. Dude. And so, with that, I think the main thing is like, this isn't by accident, right? This is design. This is intentional. You don't just accidentally fly people on an airplane.
No.
You don't just accidentally, stock the plane full of fuel. Like these things.
I still get this is what I think about a lot. What is the end game? What do they hope to accomplish by doing this? Because there's nothing wrong with immigration done legally, but to do it at such scale, to do it at, the pace of 2 million illegal immigrants per year, which will be 8 million in total by the time this administration's done, which is literally 4 times higher than any other tenure of any other president. What's the end game? What do they get out of this? Do you have thoughts on that?
I do. Well, one of the things they get is they get allegiance, loyalty,
sure,
dependency.
I've seen that for sure.
Right. And in the middle of all of that, what they've done is confuse our citizens to think that this is virtuous. So many people think this is virtuous. And so ultimately what you end up doing by way of that, and then by way of the ignorance of the citizenry upon whether or not this is legal or not, by way of the Constitution, what you end up doing is changing the infrastructure and the DNA of this country from the inside out. That's what these kind of moves do. And it creates chaos too, because, the Roman Empire there was many reasons why, but one of them was having foreign people within a nation is actually breeding ground for conflict and chaos.
Right.
And so when you start having these things happen, conflict, chaos, economic turmoil, government becomes heavy-handed. Policies, laws, things start going out of the window in the name of security and safety. And so ultimately, I think what they're trying to do is change the structure of our republic from the inside out.
A lot of Americans are so ignorant, though. They just have no idea what it's like. Like they've never had to, of the Americans that exist today, they have never experienced a war on their own soil. And they have no idea what we went through in World War II to set the world up for what it is today. And so they have a very jaded perspective, and they assume that everybody who's coming in here is just fleeing because it must be so bad where they're at. That is not true in the slightest. There are some, for sure. Don't get me wrong. But for the government to support illegal immigration at the rate that it does is bananas.
Correct.
Now, especially when we have hundreds of thousands of homeless people on our own streets in our own country,
right.
Veterans who can't afford to feed themselves. The cost of living here in the United States is out of hand. Why are we not using those same resources to help our own people? And it's frustrating, but it is the shift, right? Of like, we need to put America first. We need to be what is best for American citizens first. And that's the changing of the guard that we're kind of rocking through over the next, call it,
right,
1 to 2 presidencies.
Right. Well, and lastly, brother, like what people oftentimes don't forget is that conflict, conquest, conquering, this is all part of the trail of human history. People wanting to be in power and to control, to play God. And so if you look at the cycles that we've gone throughout the thousands of years, it's very clear to see, there's monarchy, there's oligarchy, there's democracy, right? There's republic like we have. And there's an evolution, there's a sort of cycling between the first couple of ones, monarchy, oligarchy, democracy. And so we have this illusion of the democracy that we continue to talk about while we're a republic. But the point of that is actually that we're going to morph into an oligarchy by way of the chaos that comes by way of convincing yourself you're a democracy and having all these democratic tactics that are just, let's do what the people want.
Right.
We're going to do that, and we're going to create chaos. And out of that chaos is going to be the select few who have power. That's the play ultimately.
Which is what we broke away from.
Correct. Correct.
But this kind of segues into a Twitter post from a guy named Blake Habian. How do you say that guy's name?
Let's just say Habian.
Well, he goes by Blake on Twitter, so rock on for him for being able to get that short bridge handle. But he posted on there an important message called "The Art of War," and it was a clip.
It's a clip of a gentleman speaking about how to take over a nation without actually using military might.
The highest art of warfare is not to fight at all, but to subvert anything of value in your enemy's country, be it moral traditions, religion, respect to your authority and leaders, cultural traditions, anything. Put white against black, old against young, wealthy against poor, and so on. Doesn't matter. As long as it disturbs society, as long as it cuts the moral fiber of a nation, it's good. And then you just take this country, when everything is subverted, when the country is disoriented and confused, when it is demoralized and then destabilized, then the crisis will... The highest art of...
Okay. Yeah. And in today's market, information can be used as warfare.
Yeah, for sure.
Good or bad, and it's only getting worse with the power of AI. You can confuse people at scale, in a way like we've never seen before.
Well, I'm just going to say this as we transition, just to be clear. I'm going to even look at the camera, have a serious moment. But if you see someone espousing the values, practices, beliefs, principles that are against the core aspects of this nation that has led it to become the nation that we have become, that person's an enemy. And just say it flat out. Like, they're an enemy within your borders. They're not just in foreign lands. If they are against the very thing that you live and breathe and prosper by, they're an enemy. And you just have to call it what it is. Forget your political labels. That's the thing that Democrats, minority communities, things have to grapple with. I know you think that you have these beliefs about Republicans and conservatives, but they are for your flourishing. They are not your enemies. Other people are not for your flourishing. They are your enemy in that sense.
Yeah, and caveat to that would be not everybody who's sitting on the conservative side of the fences.
No, not at all.
Anybody who is a career politician, I got some question marks.
Got some question marks. Because that's not your job. It's not your job. This is a duty, an honor, a privilege.
Correct.
Right?
So, and that's how it used to be seen, right? It's like it was an honor to be the mayor.
Because it's a high calling.
Correct.
Service.
Yep.
You're called to serve. So